Good evening and welcome back to the Friday Night Preview Show live on the Seasiders Podcast, YouTube, Twitter and Facebook channels. We hope you're all doing very well this evening. You hope you've had a good week. And now we're winding down to watch the mighty Seasiders tomorrow take on Plymouth Argyle in Sky Bet League One. We don't have a Plymouth Argyle guest this evening, so you have to cope with my two kind of co-guest, shall we say. And we'll introduce them one by one. Once again, it's Tom Main. Tom, how you doing, mate?
Yeah, good. How are you, mate?
I'm very well, thank you. I think Tuesday, which we'll obviously come on to, really kind of picked up my week. And I'm guessing many Blackpool fans like yourself.
I was just overwhelmed a little bit after the Oxford game. I thought, can we replicate that? And we did that and some more. And we made Peterborough look very average, which we'll come on to talk to in a minute. So.
Definitely. And back once again is Sean McGinley. Sean, how are you doing, mate?
I'm good, mate. Thank you.
I'm guessing, like myself and Tom and many other Blackpool fans, you're very high in spirits after Tuesday's game.
Yeah, definitely. I think when a lot of the sort of talk around the press box then was it's serious now. We are a serious contender for getting promotion. I think this was the game that really solidified that for a lot of people.
Me and you were walking out the stadium. I was walking towards you, and we just had the biggest grin on our faces under the mask. I could tell, but it was just a great performance. And again, I recapped it in the post-match show, but we'll come on to it later. But it just gave us that feeling, didn't it? Maybe it could be our time to push on and maybe get promotion this season. Is that too unrealistic expectations or not?
No, I think that's the pretty realistic expectation. That's what the players are looking for now, and that's what you hear in the noise out of the club is the same. We're on such a good run of form. Obviously, we've not lost at home since October. Now we're picking up these consecutive away wins as well. We're a relentless force at this point, and I think Peterborough is supposed to be one of the toughest tests, and we made them look pretty average, to be honest, at Plymouth Road. And why we can't do that for the foreseeable future, there's no reason really.
Completely agree. We'll kick off all things Plymouth Argyle. They're Blackpool's opponents this weekend. Their records: 13 wins, 9 draws, 15 defeats. One of the worst teams on the road this season. 48 points they've got, an average of, we'll round up to 1.3 points per game. It's currently 16th. Tom, looking at the kind of home versus away record, it should be a favoured home win for Blackpool, shouldn't it?
I think should is the poignant word there. But yeah, I mean, we need to set up. Don't get me wrong, I know they're professional footballers and we need to continue to sort of play matches to the best of our ability. But the intensity we're playing with at the moment is going to have its toll on the team, especially Jerry Yates, etc. But we need to set up exactly how we did against Peterborough, same intensity, and sort of blow them away and hopefully build a comfortable lead so we can put the pressure on and off in spells and sort of cope with that. But yeah, it should be a routine win, and fingers crossed we're going to start as we mean to go on in the previous 2 matches.
Yeah, definitely. Sean, looking at their away record, 22nd in League One, just away form, 14 points picked up from 18 away matches. Recently lost 2-1 away MK Dons. As Tom says, is it just important that Blackpool start on the front foot, very similar to how they played against Peterborough on Tuesday?
Yeah, absolutely. I think Plymouth like to sort of control the possession in the middle of the pitch if they can. But against teams that play a similar way or a team that has high intensity, they seem to get overrun, as you said, obviously recently against MK Dons. They seem to, as I say, have more confidence at home on the ball, but away from home, it's clearly just not working for them. I think they try and set up a little bit more pragmatic away from home, but it's clearly not reaping the rewards for them. And I think that, as I say, set up with the same intensity as we did against Peterborough, and you'll defeat anyone in this division.
Coming staying with you, Sean. Steve's got a comment saying, I'm a little worried about the back-to-back games and perhaps complacency impacting us. Glass half empty. I know. What are your thoughts to that comment? And do you think it is worried that teams or players can get a little bit, or we can turn up and just win tomorrow?
I don't think that's going to happen with this squad. They seem very focused. They seem very game-by-game based. Obviously, they've had their issues at the start of the season, and they've come through them. They've shown that reactive attitude that they've got and that ability to keep on being consistent when they need to be. And we're really turning into this, as I said before, this relentless force that just keeps taking each hurdle as it comes and getting through it. Obviously, with the back-to-back games, fatigue comes into play. I think Jerry Yates, I wonder if perhaps you could maybe rest him, but at the end of the day, we've got no game in midweek. We've got 4 weeks rest now. That's a big bonus for us after quite a really draining few games against Oxford and Peterborough. But to be honest, with the engine that Yates has got, I think he'll be fine anyway. Yeah. But generally, for the rest of the team, they probably do need a little bit of a rest here and now and again. But as I say, full week 3 now this week, so hopefully they'll get that after this game.
Tom, is that something that you agree with? That look, we've got a week now. Let's make the most of the game against Peterborough. There's no point winning that game on Tuesday and losing tomorrow, is there? It kind of defeats the object. You want to, with a week's break, go out with a full strength squad if you can. I know we're missing 7 or so players, but we can put that team out the same as Peterborough. We need to keep winning, don't we, and keep that momentum going.
Yeah, I mean, it's good and bad news, really. Like you said, we've got 7 out, so we haven't got too many options. But the good thing is it's kind of made Critchley's mind up in who's going to play. But as I said at the start, we need to set up exactly how we did against Peterborough. Go at them. We probably won't score after a minute or so. But like I said, build up a comfortable lead, whether it's 2-0, 3-0, 3-1, whatever. Fingers crossed we can make our chances count. And like I said, like we did against Oxford, we pressurised in spells, backed off them, and then we pressurised again at the right points. And that was probably for me, Oxford was the turning point to say we are game managing better than I ever thought we would at the start of the season. So yeah, by every stretch of imagination, if we have any ambition to go up tomorrow, we can't lose, and we certainly can't draw. We need to keep winning, and the only way we're going to do that is by hopefully setting up with the same team, and hopefully the lads can pull through and take advantage of the break afterwards.
Yeah, completely agree with what both of you have said there. Just one comment here from Josh. Josh, welcome to the stream here every Friday, like many others as usual. He says, if those 7 out were back tomorrow, who would get in the side? Can you drop anyone? He says you can't drop anyone at the moment. I'll come to you first, Tom, and then we'll get your reaction, Sean, afterwards.
Yeah, I mean, it's not very controversial, but someone in the Patreons group the other day said, if Medin's fit, does he start? And actually, my immediate thought was no, just because... Yeah, Embleton's doing such an incredible job, and Embleton's allowed Kai to be a free spirit, and it's just gelling. It's gelling really well, and and the bench will look incredible. But other than your defenders, just who would you bring back in? Obviously, you'd put your back four as strong as they can be. But other than that, you probably wouldn't change too much at the moment. Mitchell deserves his opportunity. Kai deserves to keep playing. Embleton deserves to keep playing. So does Jerry Yates. So it's only the back four for me that would change. Oh, yeah.
Sean, you talk about all those players there that they've come in, they're gelling, they're at the top of the game, they're full of confidence. Garbett, Mitchell, we've not seen that's best I've seen him play for a long time. Hence, I don't watch too many games due to what I do on a Saturday, but it just seems to be gelling. You can't upset that rhythm, can you? And the spirit that the starting 11 have got, especially.
No, you can't. I think Mitchell is putting in better performances, obviously, than CJ has since he's come back. He's probably just not fit and not got that run of games going. But at the end of the day, I think that's probably the best form that Mitchell's been in his entire life. And I think as well, obviously, as Tom said, you've got to change the centre-half pairing. I'd have Ekpeter and Gretson in straight away. But I think, as we've seen, it's more with our team, it's not perhaps personnel as much, particularly in this system as well. I think anyone can go into each position and know exactly what role that position will play, what their jobs are on the pitch and within that system. And it's really fluid in that sense, where we can just put different players in at different times and it will have the same outcome because the whole squad knows exactly what the roles are in those formations. I think that's the important thing to take from it, is that we're more focused now on the system than the individual match winners and personnel to win us games.
Yeah, just again, I completely agree. There's no point me saying, because I'll repeat myself for what you guys have said, and Josh just follows up there. And again, keep the comments coming in. It's great to see. He just says, "How do you drop Turton? He's been brilliant." And a game where I thought, Tom, the game I thought on Tuesday he's going to get bullied against Clark Harrison. To be fair, he won majority of the headers. He won a lot of his tackles at centre half in a position where he's not used to. You've got to give him credit there for being kind of versatile, and that's something that Blackpool fans have had to get used to or have seen recently in his performances.
Yeah, look, I don't disagree about Turton's ability. Against Fleetwood, I've just discussed his defending was immense. He made 2 really important tackles. At centre-back, I thought Peterborough could have been a lot better than they were. They didn't take advantage of the ball when they had it, and that was due to our pressure. So Clark Harris didn't have his best game. So, in my opinion, Turton wasn't tested completely, but he did an incredible job. Formerly made a mistake for their goal, but he did make up for it by getting an assist. But in my opinion, Gabriel just showed at right back, and I mean, if you're comparing the two at right back, not centre back, of course, Gabriel, who's just utter class. He uses class. His defending was immense. His tackling is just as good as Turton's, and his attacking ability was fluid and smooth. And though him and Mitchell, the way they overlapped, etc., he just feels so comfortable going up front, whereas Turton gets that uncomfortable aura about him when he's attacking. But, you know, he doesn't technically deserve to be dropped, but if you're picking a playoff final or a game to go up, I'm starting Gabriel every day of the week. That's just my opinion.
And you probably bring Ballard in, don't you, to play centre-half alongside Gretson, Marvin Ekpiteta, and probably Thornley as well, because just some of his passes and performances recently have been up there as well. Just moving back into Plymouth, Sean, if you're a fan of them and you've watched Blackpool's recent performance, if you've seen Gareth Ainsworth on Sky saying one of the best teams in League One this season, you've seen the manager of Peterborough go say the same thing kind of thing in his press conference after the game. If you're an away fan coming to Blackpool tomorrow, or, you know, I mean, virtually coming tomorrow, are you worried that there's going to be run over, or what do you think their mindset is going into this game? I
think you must have that sense about you. I mean, I'm thinking in the past when we've gone to grounds where teams have had to run, think of Notts Forest, for example, you need to go there with just a fearless attitude of taking it as a one-off game and not taking that into account. Because at the end of the day, there are weaknesses to our side and there are vulnerabilities that you can get at. We're not this invincible force. It's just simply the case that when we impose our game onto another team, they don't have the chance to get at our insecurities because we're already making up for it in an attacking sense. We're not allowing them to come onto our defensive vulnerabilities. So I think if a team comes to us, they have to just be on it from minute one. They have to put in the same intensity as we are. And it's so hard to match our intensity for an entire game. And that's why we're beating these teams over the 90 minutes compared to everyone else.
I think we've got a good credit, and he's not in the chat yet, is Coach Critchley and the backroom staff that he's got, because sure, me and you maybe have seen it more kind of at the games ourselves when obviously you're doing your reporting, I'm doing the photography, but they're constantly on the plays in terms of even in the 93rd minute, I think Garrity was shouting at Yates, keep running, keep putting their thing, it'll be worth it at the end of the game. And yeah, I know the game's won at that point, but it's that work ethic and that you've got to be in top of your game for that 90+ minutes. It's key, and it comes from the coaching staff, Sean, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Critchley's been a lot more vocal on the sidelines in recent weeks. I think he's come out of his shell a lot more. He seems to have a confidence that his game plan that he initially wanted to put in the first place is now what we're putting forward. Yeah. And when that happens, you've got the confidence to be upfront with your players, be honest with your players about what they need to give, up the standards and up the levels in training. I mean, Chris Maxwell alluded to it in his interview that it's constant. Critchley's constantly either working at home and working away at new training regimes, or they're constantly adapting to each opponent in training, and the work rate is just a level above anything else they've experienced. And that, if that's what your manager's putting forward, you're going to want to do the same, because you want to show him the same levels of commitment and desire to win a game that he has.
Tom, we were talking off air, and what's something Sean said. We've not watched the Blackpool preview show yet, which we will do. But what was interesting, what Sean was saying off air, was how that certain players, I think Maxwell was one of them, that they've actually feel like they've learned something new in football under Critchley, like they've been taught the wrong way for, obviously we've not watched it, but how does that make you feel that maybe previous managers have maybe done the basics, maybe not done too much in training, but what we're seeing Critchley do, or what the players are saying to us that he's doing, it makes you actually think that a lot of hard work's going behind the scenes. And after a struggling few weeks, months at the start of the season, that hard work and that graft is slowly paying off, and we're seeing results like we did on Tuesday.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think the first 7 or 8 games, it was like 1 or 2 wins, wasn't it? We're in the bottom 4, and I, for one, was on the chat saying this can't continue. And I'm not saying it's completely Calderwood, but when Calderwood and Critchley have teamed up, whether Critchley has said this is what I want to do and Calderwood's guided him through that, or Critchley's just made the team gel and we found the right system now. It's amazing how 4-4-2 worked for 8 games out of 10 undefeated, and then 4-2-3-1 now seems to be this incredible sort of difference and a level above the 4-4-2 that we witnessed when we went on that run as well. But the players you can just tell whether it's 1-0, 2-0, 3-0, 3-1, like it was on Tuesday. Every time we score a goal, that team spirit and that togetherness is something we haven't seen clearly because of background reasons for many of years and since Holloway. So that team spirit is there. What Critchley's trying to do is clearly there, and every single post and pre-match chat he does, and me and Sean say every week, he just talks very well about what he wants to do. And every week I say, let's hope he implements that. And we've just seen that in the past 3 weeks. So every single credit to this team, because someone put on Twitter on Tuesday after that win, it's just Sadler wanted us connected with the team, and the last few weeks we've really seen that come together. So as you say, every credit to the management team and the hard work they're putting behind closed doors, especially with no fans as well. Because imagine a full North stand and a full Bloomfield Road on Tuesday, it would have taken the level probably a little bit more further. So it's crazy good to see what's going to come in the future as well.
Yeah, talking on that, I had a picture with Kenny Dougal hugging Jerry Yates after the penalty. I showed it in the group chat on WhatsApp, and he messaged back saying, great pictures. And I replied saying, we can't wait to get back, all of us fans, because just the energy that we can provide. And he said, didn't he, Tom, that he can't wait to have us back. And it's great to see that players are acknowledging that and that they're begging for us to come back. So hopefully we can make an even more of an impact when we can get inside the stadiums and support this team that, as we've said, have done a fantastic job so far this season. Still a long way to go, as Neil Critchley and many other fans are saying, but we're on the right roads, that's for sure. Looking at maybe a player, Sean, in detail, Luke Jeffcott scored 16 goals in 33 appearances this season, not scored since the 2-2 draw with Portsmouth in February. And he's not played too many games, to be fair to him. But would you say he's one of the kind of prospects tomorrow, if he does play, that could cause Blackpool some problems like he did in the reverse fixture?
Yeah, to be honest, I don't think he will play. Obviously, he's had the Wales under-21s game today, but I think even if that hadn't have been there, he's been dropped the past couple of weeks, and now Lennis has been there, sort of trying to pick up the pieces for Jeffcott. But he's a real old school striker in that regard. He's very much a poacher in the box. He likes to be on the last man, running in behind. I think Plymouth in general likes running behind, so we need to be wary of that. I think compared to Peterborough, I think it's a different style. Peterborough are kind of playing the game in front of us, and that centre-half pairing are absolutely fine with that. You can do that all day long, but as soon as you start running in behind with pace, that's where the issues come. I think Jeffcott's good at that. He can have an impact off the bench at the end of the day. He's just because he's not scored in 11 games, he's shown that he's got the quality to do that, and this may well be the game that he comes back and brings that to the fore. Yeah,
I think Tom in the first game of the season when we played Plymouth away, he was that kind of player that they would kind of ball would come into midfield. It's that first time long ball over the top that he would run to, and got a few chances in that reverse fixture, if I remember rightly. Watched a few of the highlights, but again, when you look at other players to come in, and Niall Ellis is one of those, joined the club in January, scored 5 in 15 games, 2 in the last game in the victory over Joey Barton's Bristol Rovers. They're going to have a different kind of prospect, aren't they, up front? Maybe not someone who's going to run the channels as much as Jeffcott does, but another striker who knows where the back of the net is.
Yeah, took the words right out of my mouth. I was going to go through their strikers, etc. But yeah, Jeffcott, if we think Yates is having a good season, Jeffcott's on 16 goals already. Yeah. So, whether it's the right thing that he's not been playing or not, I don't know. But they went on a 5-game losing streak. And like I said, he hasn't played the minutes he wants to, but he's clearly got experience and he's a young age. So he's going to have a good future. And, after the game, he scored a really decent header against us on the back of a defensive mistake. But like you say, it's one of those ones tomorrow, which is it going to be a completely different game. Just because we beat Peterborough 3-1, it doesn't mean it's going to be a simple game tomorrow. They're going to set up completely different. Lowe's a decent manager. They've been on hard times, but they've just picked up a really positive result, and they're going to want to build on that. So play your best centre-backs that we've got available tomorrow and deal with the problems, and then on the other end of the pitch, make it count.
What are your thoughts on Ryan Lowe, Tom? Obviously joined the club in 2019, won promotion the first year with obviously points per game coming in due to COVID, but a 45% win ratio is not bad going, is it, for someone who you've got to say is quite new to management? Obviously time at Bury, obviously they folded and got chucked out of the league, but to go somewhere and get promotion your first year, it's not a bad accolade, that is it?
No, it is a decent manager, and yeah, they went on by points per game, but they had to get those points per game in the first place. And I've watched a few of his post and pre-match sort of comments, and he's doing loads of things outside of management, a bit like Holloway used to, and a bit like Critchley does in terms of research and different ways of working and learning things and stuff. So he's certainly adapting to modern day life, unlike certain managers in the league. And he's going to be a decent manager. Plymouth have been on a hard run, but it's not the easiest league once you start on a poor run, and we found that out, didn't we? So no doubt in my mind Plymouth will be fine, and hopefully after tomorrow they can sort of kick on, because he's doing a decent job there, and it wouldn't surprise me to see him at a higher club in the near future.
Sean, 2 wins in 7, the rest 2 wins and 5 losses in there, back-to-back losses, should we say? Are they in a relegation battle, or do you think that there's worse teams than them going down? Wigan have picked up a few results recently, but you look at who they've played in that. They lost to Northampton away, lost 2-1 to Doncaster, lost to Wigan. Big victory there for Wigan there. Lost 1-0 to Ipswich, 2-1 to MK Dons, and then the recent result against Joey Barton's side, who played Sunderland at the weekend. But look at that. There can't be much confidence in that squad, can there? Or do they just look at that last result and come into the game tomorrow full of hope that try and cause another upset and beat one of the teams, well, say the best team in form in the last 25 games?
I don't think they're in any threat of relegation just because of the quality in the squad. I think they're sort of a level above the likes of Wigan and Northampton and teams like that are around that area of the table. I mean, I watched them a few times earlier in the season, and they've got the quality on the ball. They're good when they're in control of the game, and I think it was almost like that over-reliance on Jephcott to score the goals. He needed to come out of the side to force them to find the different options, similar to what we were like earlier in the season with CJ Hamilton, quite one-dimensional in that way, and we almost needed him to have a spell out of the side to look at where our other options could come into play. And I think they've struggled to do that at the moment, but it's something that you have to build over time. And I think you look at Ryan Hardy can run in behind, and then you've got Niall Ennis alongside him. They both offer different aspects of play. Hardy's not necessarily a big goal scorer this season, but he's good at getting in the right areas and stretching defences. And then you've got Niall Ennis, who's good in the air, good in the box, and he's quite good at holding up the ball as well. And then you think about the players behind. You've got Danny Mayer, who, again, they've got good players, but they're just not providing in the final third. Danny Mayer's only got 2 assists this season, whereas you obviously look at Connor Grant, who's got 9. He's been the main man that sort of brought others into play, but they have the players there to cause us a threat. And Panucci Kamara as well is another who I'm a really big fan of. Really good on the ball, but he's sort of a Kenny Dougal type in terms of his intelligence off the ball as well. So they have the quality there to cause anyone a threat. It's just that they concede a lot of goals, and they always have done this season. And once those goals dry up at the other end, it's hard to come back from that.
Sorry, Tom, were you going to say something? I don't know if you...
No, I was just going to say they've got players like Edwards, and you really alluded to a few of them as well, has provided quite a lot of assists this season as well. So they're no mugs. And like I said, we've played Wimbledon and other teams like that home this season, and we've been poor. And even so if you look at Wimbledon's team versus Plymouth can do a lot more damage than teams like Wimbledon. So we need to be aware of that tomorrow. And if we don't continue to play like we have been, we could find us in a position where I don't think we'll be, but like similar to Wimbledon, where we could find ourselves in a bit of danger if we let them have the ball. So it's important we're on top of our game tomorrow and continue to push on.
And Tom, it's not set up for Ryan Hardy to come back to Blackpool, is it? And nick the winner in a 1-0 victory for the Green Armies. That last goal came against Swindon in January. So goals, like I said, drying up for him, but he'll want to come back, won't he, and prove a point, I guess, just for his sake.
Naturally, I think anyone who returns back to their former club, I don't think he's got any bad blood between Blackpool. He wanted to move to Plymouth for family reasons, and he did it. From what I understand, enjoyed his time at Blackpool. Just for me, didn't play enough, and he didn't get going. Basically, he was a non-starter. So I don't think is that I really need to score against Blackpool, but he'll certainly want to go and prove a point and get a goal, not only to prove a point, but for his own good and to keep Plymouth up that league.
Yeah, we'll move on to something we were discussing before. We're going to maybe look at some player details and plays and stats for Blackpool, because the recent performances, as we alluded to, and some of the one for me is Kai. I think, Tom, we obviously people get on his back because he knows he's got all the talent, or maybe doesn't apply itself on a game-to-game basis. But the last few games, Tom, he's been superb, hasn't he? Obviously did so well for the first goal on Tuesday night, worked hard off the ball. Second half maybe faded out of the game, but you look at his last two performances, you've got to be really pleased with how he's turned it around, should we say.
Yeah, just to add to that, like at Burton's second half as well, I think Embleton coming on made us realise how good he can actually be and rekindle that flame from when he was showing us last season. So, like I say, credit where credit's due, because I've absolutely ruined him this season, because he's been very poor in terms of one thing I would say about Kai, and he deserves every credit the last 3 matches, because he's like a new signing, and he will be the difference to us going up, as much as Jerry Yates will be impactful, etc. What he can do off the ball and on the ball will provide so many chances for Blackpool. It's going to be very big. But one thing I will say, if we think he's playing really well now, you can't say he was playing well before, because he's shown us exactly what we can do and shown his true ability. Now he's given that sort of free role, so every credit to him, and he's changed the way we play, and he's finding his confidence again.
Yeah, just apologies if you hear raindrops my end. It's hitting on the conservatory roof, so I do apologise if that's coming through the mic. Sean, just follow on from that, because again, is it something maybe his work rate and maybe change of position that's helped him? Tuesday night played on the wing, but he had that freedom to come inside a bit more, where sometimes I think he gets too involved on the left wing or whatever wing he's on, where actually when he gets involved in the game, comes into that number 10 role and joins with Embleton and Yates, he just seems to be a completely different player, doesn't he?
Yeah, and I don't think we know that obviously we've changed formation, and it's sort of coincided with that, really, that the 4-2-3-1 allows him to have more freedom on that left flank and not have as much defensive responsibility. In terms of the 4-4-2, it's a lot more structured, especially in defensive phases, and it's much more about your positional sense being disciplined, whereas in a 4-2-3-1 it's more about a combative press at their defence and getting up higher up the pitch and pressing more. And I think that when he's allowed to do that, he's absolutely fine with that sort of thing. So it's a bit of give and take, really, with Kai. If he's able to have that license and freedom to be able to go forward and create chances in that space, I think he's got a good link up with Embleton as well in terms of interchanging all the time. And when he's allowed to focus on that and his sort of defensive work on an offensive side of things and not have to focus on defensive reliability as well, then it always opens him up to be a better player.
Just listen to that if you can hear it. Wow. Shucking it down. So I might have to move, which Tom might have to just take the lead on a second. But yeah, some of the comments going in on Kai, hopefully it dies down, to be fair. But Gareth says it's changed position and mindset. Completely agree. Josh says, I'm going to have to move. It sounds really bad. Critchley may have had a word at half-time versus Burton. And same with Steve there. And it's great that we're seeing the best out of him, really. Moving on to someone else. Yates, there's been a lot of kind of news around him this week. What's he actually worth, Tom? Because he's scoring goals with fun. He's come from League Two, where he was up there with the top goal scorer, definitely for the club, helped them win promotion, Swindon. Well, 2 million, to me, that seems quite cheap these days, with players going for 3 or 4 million. You look at strikers like, here we go. That should just end the debate, shouldn't it? But yeah, he's proven not just his goal scoring, but also how he plays off the ball is just as crucial, isn't it, in his game?
This is going to sound really bad, but I don't think I've been in love with a player for Blackpool for a number of years now, because what he does for our club is it's not, for me, it's not even 3 million. When there's money being branded about, and players in the last 5 years in League One and the Championship have gone for 8, 9, 10 million. I'm not saying he's worth clearly 10 million, because it's a massive price tag, but would you want to sell, and who are we going to replace him with? And 2, he gives us so much, and is still young, and his finishing ability and his intelligence off the ball, as well as his work rate, is second to none that I'd want in this league at the moment. So 2 million is literally, it's laughable, absolutely laughable. So 5, I wouldn't want to sell him regardless, because you're not gonna want to sell him, but no less than 5, 6 million, just because who are you going to replace him with? That gives you what he gives you.
I agree. I think you look at Ivan Toney goes for 10 million to Brentford, whether that's 7.5 million and the rest in kind of clauses, should we say. But you look at, I don't think Ivan Toney was a proven goal scorer in the league really for maybe one season. So it just goes to show, doesn't it?
Yeah, he's on.
He's doing well now, though. At Brentford, don't get me wrong, but in League One, he was at the start of his career, wasn't getting many goals, but his last season proved that he can go to that next level, and he's scoring goals for fun.
Yeah, I think I said, like, just remember, it wasn't until Burton away he scored his first goal. He's on 14 goals, 3 assists already. Just imagine he got 5 goals in the ball run we were on. He'd be on 20 goals already this season, and his engine is phenomenal. Like what he's done up front for us, I can't put into words that. I appreciate it so much, because Medine's been out, Sims hasn't performed, he hasn't had anyone else. Kaikai's been off form by the last 3 games. You know, he hasn't had a permanent winger with him. And what he's done for our team, and I thought this the other day because we were playing Plymouth. If you go back to the Plymouth reaction or the previews to the Swindon match, I spoke about we played 4-3-3. And this is the first match of the season. And I said Yates has frustrated me so much because he's dropped back deep and that heat map had him everywhere around the pitch, and he was going everywhere to pick up the ball. And it just, you know, look at him now. He comes deep now and we work so well as a team. But wherever he goes, the team presses with him. And he's added so much to our team. And without him, we're mid-table mediocrity because, he's phenomenal. I can't speak more highly of him. And without him, we're in big trouble. So if we go for 2 million, it's just laughable. So.
Yeah. Sean, Tom said, sorry to come in. I'll let you go on and let you finish. Go on.
No, I was just said it's just phenomenal.
No,
I've only got.
I thought Sean said something. Sorry. Josh says in the comment, best movement I've seen in a Blackpool striker since DJ Campbell, and it might even be better than him. Good comparison, to be fair. And DJ, one of those fit strikers who everything was side foot and went with placement. And Yates does have that in his locker, but likes to go for a bit of power, especially in those penalties, sending the goalkeepers the wrong way. But you've got to look at, again, going back to what Tom said, Sean, that who do you actually look to replace him if you do sell him? You can't sell him cheap, because strikers in this league and the league above are going for 5+ million. You've got to get something where that enables you to bring in 2 or 3 bodies or just one main striker to replace him. But the way Critchley wants to play and the way Yates is playing, you've got to look for something very identical, haven't you?
Yeah, I think the thing with Yates is that he's basically performing 2 strikers' roles up top of his off-the-ball work, and that's the main thing, is that when we have that 4-4-2, then it overloads things, and then when we're in the 4-2-3-1, even though we should realistically be overloaded ourselves in terms of teams playing out the back against us, because of his work rate, it's a level playing field. And as you're saying, he's scoring goals, he's got bags of confidence, he offers so much. He for me is the best Blackpool striker that I've seen in my lifetime, and that includes DJ Campbell. And that for me is
even James Beattie.
Of course.
Kornilenko.
Yeah, do you know what? It's a tough sell. I'm thinking Sergei Zenyov maybe on a par. But I'll defend Armand Nangelay till the day I die. But Jerry Yates is just a level above anything we've had in terms of his all-round play. But at the same time, we do need to be realistic about the fact that this is the model that the club's going to be based on for decades to come now under Sadler, and that this is the type of player we will pick up, we'll have for a season or 2, and we'll sell on to the next level and develop them, and then we'll grow with that, and then we'll get the next level up of player. So you're thinking about, I know we're saying who will we replace him with, but to be honest, I think it's probably about a 5-6 million fee that I'd be asking for. Obviously, you're saying Tony's probably gone for about 10 with all the add-ons. But I think of our recruitment system that we've got this season, and I can't think of a team that's made that many signings and had that many good hit signings out of 19. You must say, 3/4 of the signings we've had have made an impact on the first team, which is just a ridiculous return and turnover. So we're so specific with our scouting in terms of what we want to identify and what we want to get. You think of Gretason. Well, I mean, who the bloody hell knew Gretason? Like this scouting network that we've got is growing and growing. It's becoming better and better. This club, I have full faith in, will invest that money that we got for Yates and make us grow as a team as a whole. So as much as we love Jerry Yates, we need to realise that this is the structure that's going to get us right up to the very top of the Championship and about competing in the level that Simon Sedler wants to be at. So we need to trust it, even though we will sometimes lose players that we love.
Let's just read a few comments here regarding the topic we've been talking about. John Scott, I think we had this on the screen before, says, for me, Jezza reminisce of early Brett Ormrod. Gareth White, he's got a comment saying, I don't think we're a selling club anymore unless the offer is silly. We aren't owned by that family now. Marcus Mackay says, don't get me wrong, Jerry has improved considerably. However, we are not getting a little over-exaggerated with the I can't even see it from superlatives. My reading is atrocious. I would call him was chicken 10 or so games ago.
Because you were wrong, Marcus. That's why. Because you were wrong.
We all believed at the start of the season. Even results aren't going away. But yeah, Billy Hinley says Jerry tries harder than Armand did. Love them both, though. Imagine he came back. That would cause a few upsets, wouldn't it? If Armand Angele came back in January. I don't think we'll go there anyway. But someone says better than Tony Ellis to see. Obviously before probably our time. So
loved him back in the day.
Yeah, good player. Yeah. We'll move on to a few players because again it gets the chat going. Chris Maxwell. We had a debate at the start of the season whether goalkeepers, Sean, were leaders in, could be leaders or captains of a team. From what you've seen recently and your own perspective, what do you think of his performances? Maybe not had many top saves to make or key saves, but how influential do you think he is on the pitch in terms of guiding this team during games? If he's not involved, he certainly is, and he guiding them through and telling them what to do.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he doesn't stop from minute one. He's relentless with it, and he's clever. He knows exactly what the game plan is. He knows exactly what he's doing. He's a very intelligent player for a goalkeeper, and I think he sets the precedent as well with his distribution play. He's very, very astute at keeping the tempo high when he wins the ball back from set pieces. I think perhaps maybe he's been a little shaky collecting the ball from set pieces and corners and things like that in recent times. But I was expecting him to be terrible when he signed because I watched him at Hibs, and obviously there was reports from Preston as well, and he was not having a great time of it at all, and he seems to have just completely turned his career around with us. Obviously, he said he's the happiest he's ever been in his career here, and it shows. He clearly has a full trust in how we're wanting to play, and he executes that with his communication, but also with his play on the ball as well.
Tom, just looking at kind of clean sheets from him, I think if I go from the, I've lost the stat now if page is refreshed, but Maxwell, since joining Blackpool, 40 games, 19 clean sheets. It's a fantastic record, isn't it, really, that you go show. But it's not just him, though, is it? You've got to give credit to the whole team because they work so hard off the ball, but those stats for a goalkeeper, it's quite impressive what he's done so far in the Tangerine colours.
Got an assist as well, I believe, against Northampton. So, yeah, no, he's the only, like I say, if there's a criticism at all, is he's got the confidence to come for crosses, and he's flapped at a couple and maybe put us in a little bit of danger. But we've got the ability to deal with those when he has done it and we've cleared the ball. But defensively, if you think where we were at the start of the season to where we are now, and like Sean's alluded to, our recruitment and just say the balls to say to Nottingham, you're not good enough, you've gone, to technically a promotion rival or playoff rival at the time, you know, where they were about the league, and they picked him up, and we were like, whoa, he's just gone instantly, etc. And you know, we've got faith in this club to believe we know the right team, and the defence is, you know, we play Peterborough on Tuesday, and there's so we've had this a couple of times this season, especially at Oxford as well, where you've gone, we're probably not going to concede, and we've actually got the full confidence in our team that when they attack, we're going to deal with it somewhat. And Maxwell, yeah, it's just been a revelation, and people didn't want him in goal, and he's very clever. If you watch him on iFollow or however you watch him, or on highlights, and Sean and you were at the game, so you'll know, but he's talking to the ref all the time. He's talking to his back line all the time. His distribution is phenomenal. He starts attacks within half a second of him kicking the ball. So it's just been brilliant. And as Sean said, he said he's learned how to play football under Critchley. So again, credit to the manager. 3
goals conceded in 9 games. That's definitely a key part to the Seaside's success.
Yeah, in 20. Sorry, and the 25 games you're alluding to earlier, we're top of the league by 6 points, and we've conceded less goals than Sunderland. We've only conceded 17 in 25. So it's every credit to the defence and the way we've improved game after game.
Just read a few comments on the Maxwell situation before we look at the kind of manager quotes, and we'll read your teams out. So if you want to get them lined up in the chat, do that if you want whilst we talk. Maxwell is good, but no better than Phil Barnes. John Scott says, will Maxi make the same captain when the grounds are full? It'll be a lot harder to get his message heard. Good point, to be fair, John. Marcus says he's an obber, but he's doing a great job, so let's move on. Yep, as like you, I'll move on to the next comment. Gareth says, I have to admit that I prefer Alnwick to Maxwell. Good debate there. Obviously, things happen, don't they, for a reason, and we've got to give Maxwell credit for coming in. David Jackson says Maxwell is League One Schmeichel with his distribution. I've lost where the chat's on now. Just loads of comments just come in. Webby says Maxwell is different. Class keepers get better with age, so for me, he's much better than Alnwick. Very articulate is Maxwell. He's a thinker and a winner, and that's what we like to see, isn't it, Sean? Winners in this team, because if we're going to get anywhere, we need people like Maxwell and others in the team who are also winners to get us out of this league.
Yeah, I think there's a hunger as well in the more experienced players. Not all of them have experienced that level of success in terms of winning promotions and having the best of their campaigns. So if you think Maxwell's probably at the closest point of a real success in his career, then he's going to be more relentless than anyone else to want to get that. And I think it's similar with the likes of Medine and players like that are probably driving that from within in the dressing room. And I think that obviously we were talking about Anik as well. I thought he was pretty poor in his distribution, and generally I just wasn't really a big fan of Anik. And I think he's gone to St Mirren and he's done a decent job, but he's not really done much to write home about. But I just think that his distribution is so important to what we do, and so important to upping the tempo, even more so than his goalkeeping. I think that his distribution means more than any goalkeeping ability that he has to this team, because the defence is so good at doing its job generally that without that distribution, we'd probably not have the same tempo in the team as we do.
Jordan, another comment. That's why you're on the show, Sean. That is why you're on the show with us. Let's move on to kind of managers and what both of them have said ahead of tomorrow's game at Blackpool. This is what Ryan Lowe's had to say. Obviously, we can't really get their fans' perspective on it, but he goes on to say that Blackpool will be looking to build on from Tuesday night's 3-1 win against Peterborough. They've played 4-4-2 plenty of times this season, but they can also play 4-2-3-1 with wingers coming inside. But Critchley have the same ideas. He knows what we're going to do, and he knows the football is still the same. I don't know what he means by the last part of his thing. Whatever formation it is, whether it's 3-5-2 or 4-4-2 or 4-2-3-1, they'll have their own opinions of how we play and what we're going to do and try to do in the game. It's the same for us as well, because if you don't get caught out. Tom, your thoughts on that? Is he saying that they're at Blackpool maybe expecting the long ball game tomorrow?
No, I listened to the 10-minute interview with him. He was alluding to the fact that they asked the question, you beat him 1-0, can you do the same again? And he said they're a different animal now, and you know they play differently to when they got different personnel, and Critchley's got a different way of working. And I think that's what he said when he said they know how we play, or whatever you just said. Yeah, so I think it was a snippet from that. So I think he was just trying to say Critchley will know how we want to play, but they play differently and they want to build from Tuesday. But he then said in the same breath as Sean said earlier that we still play the ball quite long, and he's not wrong in some respects, but how we want to play and how we played the last 3 games, you know, with the press and the passing around, fingers crossed he expects to play a long ball tomorrow, because if he sets up that way, we will find joy down the wings.
Yeah, completely agree. Moving on to Neil Critchley. He's looking forward to seeing how his Blackpool side fares against Plymouth this weekend, having faced the Pilgrims in the opening game of the season. We were dominant in that game, he says, referring to that opening league game. We played brilliantly well on the day, and our only criticism was that we didn't turn our superiority into goals. Their goalkeeper had a very good game. Hate the adverts on the website. The game sort of typified the next few games for the start of the season, where I felt we were performing well but not getting the results we deserved. Yeah, you have to say they've come a long way, Blackpool, haven't they? And just what are your thoughts to maybe what Neil Critchley said this week, Sean?
Yeah, obviously we battered them in that away game, first game of the season. There was a lot of positive signs going out of that, and then obviously we kept seeing that kind of pattern emerge, and then we just weren't finishing the chances, and we were starting to lose faith in whether or not that was just going to be the norm then. And then obviously we started to pick up victories and score goals, despite our chance creation almost lessening because we'd adapted to a 4-4-2, but we were just more clinical with how we were playing. I think he knows how important keeping the momentum is in this, and keeping our composure and professionalism. And as we talked about before, he just comes across so professional, and he knows exactly what his game plan is going to be and how to execute it. Obviously, Ryan Lowe said that Plymouth have adapted a bit, but I have no doubt that Neil Critchley knows exactly how they've adapted and knows exactly what he's going to do to combat that. Personally, I would probably be worried about the ball in behind still, even though Jeff Cott's not playing. Ryan Hardy's got pace in behind, and that's where they'll probably aim to go. If not, then they'll spread it out wide and try and get the ball into the box to Niall Ennis. But I think that we know what we need to do to adapt, and we always have done in these games. And I just have full confidence now that no matter what game, no matter what team they come up against, we're going to have the perfect plan. It's just ensuring that individuals perform to the top level that they need to execute that.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone saw the picture of Mill Farm. Plymouth were warming up on or doing some drills or set pieces on the pitch there at AFC Fylde. So I don't know who put it on Twitter. I should have found it and put it on, but they were doing the tangerine bibs to make sure who was marking who and all this stuff. So hopefully whoever was there has passed on the notes to a member of the club, and we can deal with that tomorrow. Let's just hope we don't concede from a set piece. That'll be disappointing, wouldn't it? But Tom, just carrying on from what he goes to say here, he says that those games, the game against Plymouth and other ones, will have helped kind of moving forward. And he says it's a good thing for us. We thought we've learned so much about myself, the staff, the players, and sometimes you've got to come through those tough times to show your strength and character. And he's felt we've done that. And since then, he says that we've been really consistent in how we've played, and we're picking up good momentum at a very good time of the season. And you've just got to agree with that even when we were, I know we said it so many times, that we were frustrated at the start of the year, but that hard work and that graft's just paying off now, isn't it?
Yeah, we've chopped and changed the team, and we've tried 3 or 4 systems now, and what we're playing now seems to work really well. So we've got the personnel to, as Sean said earlier, we've got the players that can just slot into positions if someone's need to rest or substitutions, etc. So I think we've found that system. It's just how we adapt it to each opposition and don't set up to sort of let them have the ball and worry about them like we did in previous matches at home. And we showed Tuesday when we play our game, we will beat anyone in this league. And like you've said, after the start, we're top of the league after 25 games with nearly 50 points. And how we've progressed, and the team, we don't lose that often and we don't concede that often. It's signs of a very decent club. We just need to kick on with the wins now.
We certainly do. We're going to touch on team selection now. We've had a few sent in. We're going to work on a graphic for next week, and we'll sort something out because they are quite small on the screen. Which is none of your faults who have sent them in. But we'll start off with one from Callum Ridgewell. I'll just put a message out there and we can put it on the screen so people can get them in. He's gone with Maxwell, Turton at right back, Gretson, Thornley and Garbutt, the 4 defenders. Ward and Dougal, the 2 holding midfielders, with Embleton, Mitchell, Kai and Ellis Sims up top. A bit of a surprise there. But is he maybe thinking about the potential dead leg that we saw on the news this week? Yeah,
he sent that to me. He said he doesn't know if Yates is fit, so therefore he thinks Sims might start. So he said otherwise Yates is starting, so he doesn't think Sims should start over Yates. Is just going with what he thinks might happen.
I think with that as well, with Sims, I think that if Sims does play tomorrow, it won't be that bad a thing, I don't think, because I think if you play Sims to his actual abilities and try and feed balls in behind and link up with play on the ground and open up space for him more, as we have been doing in the 4-2-3-1, I think that he'll be absolutely fine. He's that type of player, and we haven't really given him a chance to actually prove if he's a good player or not, because he's never been played to his own strength. So that at the end of the day, I don't think, against a team like Plymouth, I don't think it's the end of the world if Jerry Yates does miss this game. If any game that you're going to want him to miss, it's probably going to be this one out of the next few.
Yeah, Tom, just give us a slight away from it. This team selection, is this part of an app or something that Blackpool fans can get involved in? It seems like there's a bit of a prediction league or something like that going on. I don't know if you can explain a bit more.
Yeah, it's only the last couple of weeks I got into it. So it's a football league and Premier League app. It's got every single club on there, but it's got news articles like the Gazette, Up the Mighty Pool, the Third Tier have recently gone on there, and it's just somewhere we can read the opposition's articles like you were reading their Gazette, predict our teams, and you win points basically on the leaderboard. And there's about 30 odd Blackpool fans. There was only 5 or 6 last week, so you get special codes. There's a waiting list of nearly 1,000. So if anyone wants one, I've still got 5 codes sent to me this morning. But it's a new app where Blackpool can get their media out, and every single sort of thing that's on there gets a hit back to where it related from. So, for example, if the Seasiders pod was on there, they'd get the viewing for it as well. So it relates back to the people doing the work also. So if anyone wants a code, just message me on Twitter or the Seasiders pod and we can get you one sorted. But yeah, it's really decent. So for example, Plymouth's pre-match thoughts are on there. Their fans' thoughts are on there and stuff. So it's just a nice place to sort of go on and read everything. I think Sean's on there as well, isn't he?
Yeah, it's really good.
I'll have to sign up now. You've both sold it to me with that amazing pitch. Andy T's got his team in. He's gone for Maxwell, Gabriel, Turton, Thornley, Garbett, Ward, Dougal, Hamilton, Kai, Mitchell, and Yates. That's the same 11, which many people in the chat have said as well. Moving down the line, Tom, talk us through yours. I think you've gone for. I've made one change to the team. That's Gretson coming in for Turton.
Yep. So Grayson in for Turton because it's either Turton or Thornley gets dropped. So I've gone with a centre-back playing at centre-back naturally. Gabriel to start right back because I just think his level is above anything in League One, and it's not nothing on Turton. I just think if he starts him in every League One team at right back, so as providing Yates is fit, give him a half, and fingers crossed we can build a 1 or 2-0 lead, and Ellis Sims can come in and get the rest Jerry Yates deserves. But that's just one change for me. If Grettison's going to come back, it will be against Plymouth, where the pressure's not so big, but he can probably settle down a little bit more than he would have against better strikers.
Yeah, we'll come to you, Sean, after this next one. Billy, Hindle's got their team in, so I'll give you a little time to think about it. But what Billy's gone for is Maxwell, Garbett, Gretterson, Husband, Turton, Dougal, Ward, Kai, Embleton, Mitchell, and Jerry Yates if he's fit. The bench, Moore, Thornley, Gabriel, Virtue, Robson, Lubala, Sims. Don't know if CJ is fit, so they obviously would come in there as well. Thank you for getting teams in. Sean, I'll come to you. And is it the matter of fact that stick with the same 11, or would you change it up tomorrow?
I'd change it. I'm obviously not sure on Husband's fitness status. I'm not sure if he can make it or not, but I'm not sure that he can. I would drop Thornley and I'd play Gretterson in there. I'd keep Turton in the centre half. I know Thornley's a natural centre half, but he made another massive mistake in midweek, and that's probably his 3rd individual error now. And I know I'm probably going to come across quite harsh on Thornley. I fucking seem to slate him every time. But there's the ball in behind from Fleetwood. I don't really like Thornley, trusting him in terms of his positional sense when it comes to a ball in behind. I think Turton's better at that. He's pacier than Thornley, and I feel like Turton's positional sense in terms of his defensive duties is better than Thornley. Obviously, Turton put in such a monumental performance against Peterborough. I don't think you can drop him. Even like I would drop him if he had to play right back, but for Gabriel. But I think that Thornley, there's no room for sentimentality, and Critchley knows that better than anyone. He's quite happy to bomb someone out straight away if there's a better player coming in. And Daniel Grettison's one of, if not our best centre half. We are going for the playoffs. We're going for promotion. We don't have time to mess around with a 4th choice centre half if he's not good enough, and he's not good enough to play at that level. I know it's harsh, but he's.
I think you've been very harsh on him.
Grettison's twice the player that Thornley is. He has moments of composure that just aren't quite there, and I think Thornley's absolutely fine as a 4th choice centre half if you've not got the responsibilities on the ball that we have to have of our defenders. But when you've got responsibility on the ball, it's really important that you have quality in there. And Grettison's just double the player, and the minute he's fit, he should be in.
Yeah, Sean was at the game as well. But if you relate back to Wimbledon and Crewe, this is where he alluded to the 3rd individual error. He doesn't step up, and Ballard does, and they score a goal. And then at Wimbledon, he doesn't come forward with the line as well. And if you want to win promotion and climb up the table and secure playoffs, then you've got to play your best players, and that's why I said Turton or sort of Thornley gets dropped. But if he's gonna, that's what I think he'll do in terms of dropping a player. But you're absolutely right. When your best centre backs are fit, you've got to start them.
I think you've been quite harsh, but I've got no one to back me up here. It's 2 versus 1.
The
so
chat,
I'm not
the chat got you back.
Why?
The chat got you back.
I think it's distribution. I think sometimes those long crossfield passes, I think he did 3 or 4 on Tuesday. The game again, I only see, I don't watch every game like you guys, so I probably don't see the mistakes, and I haven't seen the mistakes as often as you, but I do sometimes think he's quite calm on the ball. He's not the loudest of centre halves, I'll give you that. Maxwell does a lot of his talking, but I think he gives something different. And if like those crossfield passes, I think he did a few to Mitch on the right wing, which I don't see Turton or Gretson does a few times, but Ballard doesn't do them. And for me, and we actually got to think where he's come from as well. And I'm going to give him credit for this, because he easily could have just sacked it off at the start of the season, not being part of any of the squad, and it kind of had to come in really due to injuries. But you've got to give him credit for what he's done. 4th choice is hard. I think he's 3rd.
I think, yeah, but you think about, see, the thing is, I'm going to give him loads of credit, because the way you bounce back from being told that you're going to be sold in January and then putting the performances he's had, that's fantastic from him. And he's a young lad, and he's going to develop, and he's going to become a better player. But we've got, 10 games left of the season, and you've got Daniel Gretson sat there on the bench, and the quality that he possesses in the team, it just seems like a silly decision for me to keep persisting with someone who may then go through a game where he doesn't make an error or doesn't have an error of judgment. I think when you've got already a makeshift centre half in Turton, you can't have 2 that, in terms of, I just think positional sense is so important in our system and in our team, more so than obviously you're saying Thornley's distribution. I think that we've got the assets there to be able to deal with the distribution issue, but we don't have the assets there to deal with the positional sense, because once the positional sense is wrong, it's a goal, because he's the last line of defence. Whereas obviously if he's not providing those passes, we're not going to concede off the back of that. It's just going to be something that we work around the team. I think you've just got to be ruthless at this point in the season. That's what Sunderland and these teams will be doing when they're going for their titles. They'll throw someone out who's just not good enough when the better player comes back. And in terms of quality, you just have to go with Gretson. You just have to.
I'm just going to stick to asking the questions, I think, and leave my opinion to this. No, good debate. I think it's a fantastic we can debate, because Tom, I don't think the last time we had 3-4 good centre halves in the I'll say good. That's probably under the wrong word to use. 4 great centre halves that can come in and do a job, and Turton's another one who can slip in at centre back if he's not playing at right back. It's good to see that we've got this strength in depth, because if we don't have it and don't get 19 players in the, I thought the rain was coming again. If we don't bring these 19 players in the summer, we don't have this squad to cope with injuries, do we? So again, it's a team effort at the end of the day, and players have got to play the part, whether it's 1 game, 5 games, or 46, I guess.
Yeah, I think you're spot on. Husband is coming at centre back.
Husband as well, yeah.
Yeah, he's done phenomenally well, and you've got to give every credit to your team. But I feel like I said, Sean's spot on. I think if your best centre backs available, then why would you not play them? Just because of, he's done well, and don't get me wrong, we're not scoring the second goal unless he pushes up the pitch. So I'm giving him every credit to that. But if you're, like I said, if you set up in a playoff final, I'm not starting Thornley tomorrow. That's it, and we've got 10 playoff finals to win to put us up that league, and it's as simple as that. He's done nothing wrong to be. Sorry, they're not done too much wrong to be dropped, but he cost us a goal potentially in the other individual areas, and we can't afford to keep conceding goals.
Can I just add that one about Garbett makes the same mistakes as Thornley? That's okay, because there's no one to replace Garbett. Yeah. And obviously we've got that replacement there in Gretson. It's kind of like, as I've said, for Thornley's ability, he's doing really well, and he's going to progress, and I think he will become a better centre half for this that he's being thrown in the deep end, and he's clearly got such a good mental attitude and mentality to the game. But it's just a simple case of you just have to play your best player. It's like if we had Sims in the team and he was scoring like one goal a game, say in the past 3-4 games, and then Jerry Yates comes back fit, you want Jerry Yates in the running. It's kind of like it's the same in anywhere on the position on the pitch, really.
Just the chats, kind of the comments are flowing into. If I'm trying to keep up with them, it's, as Steve says, interesting debate. Suspect the Viking will get the shirt sooner or later, but think Thornley should keep it for now. And that's my thoughts, Steve. I think you've got a team that are in a winning mentality. Yes, one mistake, but What is the mistake you're referring to, by the way, on Tuesday? Is it just the with the goal? Is that what you're on about?
Yeah, so with their first goal, we sort of the ball comes. I think from my angle, it was a lot worse. We kind of just giggled at it in the press box. So it's kind of like he just completely lost his bearings. The ball goes high and it comes down. He tries to sort of control it. He completely misses it, but then he turns a bit, and then the ball's still there, and he's not really sure where he's going with it. He loses his awareness of his surroundings quite often. Particularly, I know that was in the first half, but obviously he did it in one of the midweek games where we dropped points, whether it was Wimbledon or I think it was Crewe, where his positional sense was awry. And it's fine margins, and I just think Gretterson doesn't put a foot wrong, and I just think that you're more likely to have a composed defensive performance from Gretterson than you are from Thornley.
I think we could be here for hours talking about teams and maybe Blackpool using the 10th.
Love you really, Jordan. I'm sorry.
Going back to the teams, I think we said Gareth was the same as Tuesday. Steve's team, I think we've done these. Max, I think we did do some of these, didn't we? I'll read this through anyway. Steve says, Gabriel, Garbutt, the fullbacks, Turton and Thornley, Dougal and Ward, Mitchell Emerton, Kai and Yates. Again, apologies for the heavy rain falling on the Fylde coast. Let's hope the pitch stays wet-free tomorrow. John Scott says, Maxine Gold, Turton, the Viking, Thornley, Garbs, Dougal, Ward, Kai, Embo, Gabriel, Yates. I wonder where he's putting. I mixed that up there. Maybe he's going Turton, Viking, Thorn.
Turn right back, Thornley centre back with Viking, Garbs.
Garbs pushing, yeah. Is Deadly go? Oh, sorry, Gabriel's go. Sorry, misread that last bit. He's going forward. Josh says, yes, same team for me. I don't think you can drop anyone. Definitely a shout for the Iceman. Gareth commented saying Anderson, CJ, Hubby, Ballard, CJ, Medine, Stewart, and all them are all out. Take it in, lads. Aren't we doing well? I don't think we've got any other team comments in here unless we scroll down. There's a few comments here on the Thornley debate, which was a fantastic listen there. Thornley's weaker on long balls. He's actually better against the better side. Tomorrow is a banana skin if Thornley plays. Interesting comment there. And final one here. Tom, in my honest opinion, Hubby is a better defender than Garbutt. Garbutt better going forward, but no way as a defender. And that's another one. I think my dad gave him a 10 in the Oxford game, I think it was, for his performance and what he did. And when a player is at a club, as we've seen in years gone by, the Championship year we got promoted, Premier League, that if players are enjoying themselves with a good group of lads, manager believes in them and trusts in their ability, you go out on the pitch, don't you, every time, feeling on cloud nine. And I think Garbutt's doing that now, isn't he? He wasn't sure if he was a defender or an attacker when he first came in, but recently he's been superb. And I think even his defensive duties has got better. But I think we've been attacking that much that his defensive duties, in some respects, have been kind of on hold, haven't they? Because we've got cover in that area.
Yeah. I absolutely am Viva James' husband. I love the way he flies into tackles, and I was at Southend when he went into that play for no unnecessary reason, and I think same in a midweek game when he just got absolutely clattered. I think it was against Doncaster. He loves to tackle, and he loves this club, and he's done incredibly well at centre back. But at the moment, with the way we play, I think Garbutt has to start for me. I don't know how Sean feels, but Garbutt every time for me at the moment, especially with his set pieces and the way he can showed what he did against Tuesday and against Oxford. So, not Oxford,
I think Husband's a better defender, as Gareth says. Obviously, we know. I think it's obviously Garbutt is quite suspect at times. Obviously, you mentioned the Peterborough goal. I think you almost didn't expect him to take that shot, really. But at the same time, he should have been closer to his man. But I think he offers so much going forward at the moment in terms of an attacking sense that it's kind of you take the wins with the losses at that point. Does it make up for it more him being in the side than him not being in terms of our attacking output? And I think at the moment you'll take that defensive mistake for his attacking output, and then obviously I can't say the same in centre half, but that's for me where it is. So at the moment I think I would keep Garbutt in the team, but I would put Husband in at centre half, probably ahead of one of either Turton or Thornley if he's back fit anyway. So yeah, I think Husband's probably more of a centre half these days now, to be honest.
Yeah, I think that maybe. Well, if I see him now and he's watching, me saying his lack of pace, he won't be impressed with that if I see him tomorrow. But you do get your score predictions in. We've had plenty through so far. Just a comment here from Stephen. He says, "Let's just trust whoever is picked to play, and hopefully they can do the job." And I think we're getting to that stage, aren't we, guys? That whoever comes in the team, we're more than comfortable that they'll do a job. And Garbutt and Gabriel, for me, have been two fantastic signings for me, especially the way that Critchley maybe wanted to play at the start of the year, but couldn't get the style across. I think everyone's just kind of building together, and we're seeing what we wanted to do at the start of the year. But score predictions, we'll read a few through and we'll get the panel's thoughts. Billy, thanks again for your comments. Says 2-1 to the Seasiders. Ray Gregson says 2-0 to the Pool. Christian also backs Blackpool to beat Plymouth 2-0 tomorrow, as well does Steve. Tom, I'll come to you first, mate. Your score predictions, and I'll put you under the spot. Will there be a penalty, and who are the goal scorers going to be?
2 out of 2. I'm with John on this one. I think they will nick a goal. I've just got a weird feeling they might nick a goal, whether that be from a set piece or whatever. But I'm going to go 3-1 as well. I think if Ellison starts, he'll do a good job, but he won't press anywhere near as good as Jerry Yates. But we've definitely got the quality against them to score goals. So I'm going to go with 3-1. If Yates starts, he gets a goal. Another set piece, so Gretterson if he starts, and I'm going to go with Kai. There we go.
Interesting. David Coleman says 3-0 and hopefully no new injuries. Stephen also says 3-0 to the Seasiders. John Scott says deja vu 3-1, my most confidence prediction of the season so far. That just means defeat, doesn't it? It has defeat all over it. Christian says this man will score a brace tomorrow if he's in the starting 11. That is it. Well, unless he comes off the bench and scores 2. But Sean, your score predictions, and if many goals, who do you think is going to get on the score sheet for the Pool?
Yeah, I think I'm going 3-1 as well. I think we'll probably may concede just simply because, I mean, they are lethal over the top in terms of what they have been throughout the season. I think that they will get chances in behind. But we've been so convincing recently in terms of our control of the game, and I think this is a good chance for us to prove that we can dominate a team that's sort of off it. We've shown our mettle against the better sides, and it's important that we keep that consistency no matter who the opponent is. So I think it'll be a Yates double and a Kai goal and a 3-1 win.
Yeah, just talking about latest games. Obviously, if you listen to this later on, Friday night, Oxford beating Lincoln 2-1 at home. Anthony Scully scored for Lincoln, but Anthony Ford and Matt Taylor have scored the 2 goals to put Oxford in the lead. What way do we want that to go? Obviously, there's 30 minutes left in that game, guys. A draw is probably the best result for Blackpool.
I think that a Lincoln defeat's a better result because I'm not looking behind us anymore. I think I'm looking right up the table. So I think that Lincoln losing is a fantastic result for us.
Yeah, Lincoln, I think they've won 2 in their last 10. They've lost 4 and drawn 2. Drawn 2, won 2. So they're above us and they're crumbling a little bit. And if they lose again and we continue to push, we've got to be, like Sean said, looking above us. So for me, Oxford can win that all day of the week, every day of the week. Sorry.
Yeah, read through a few more of the comments coming in. Gareth says, I'm even more confident tomorrow, which is worrying. 2-1 to the mighty Seasiders. Webby says 2-0 to the Blackpool. I'm going to go for a 2-0 victory as well. I think Kai is going to get on the score sheet as well as Jerry Yates, if he's fit and ran off that dead leg. Callum, he says 2-0 to Blackpool, Kai and Mitchell. Josh says, really scared it'll be 1-1. We seem more comfortable against the better teams, which is something that you kind of maybe agree with, to be fair. Looking at other things, Matt just refers to the game we're just talking about, Oxford versus Lincoln. Posh 2 inconsistent as well, but he does go for a 1-0 victory for Blackpool. And would you take that, guys? I'll come to Sean first. Would you take a 1-0 victory tomorrow against a side that could easily come to Blackpool and steal all 3 points?
Yeah, you have to take anyone at this point. Like, just keeps the run going, keeps the consistency going. It's another clean sheet as well. So at the end of the day, if we win 1-0 now, every single game throughout the season, no matter the performance. No one will care at the end of the season. So it's just about getting that result. Even if we're not on it, just picking up that 3 points is all that matters.
Tom, will you be kind of rubbing your hands through your long lockdown hair if Blackpool are holding on to a 1-0 lead going into stoppage time?
If it's 1-0, yes. Yeah, I'll take any win tomorrow. But if it's 1-0 going into the last few minutes, then I just think we're creating too many chances not to score more than one tomorrow. Whether they score, we concede, like us, more than one goal. But I just think we're creating too much chances if we're on our game tomorrow, and we should score. We should take advantage of them. So, yeah.
Jez just got a final comment there regarding the score predictions. We're unplayable at the moment. He's going for a 4-1 Blackpool win. Lovely enthusiasm there. Jez, hopefully Blackpool can score a few more goals and keep propping up that League One table. Talking about stats, 28-1, John says, for Blackpool to win the league. It's probably just out of the reach, that, but you've got to look to the heights. Definitely worth a go each way. First, maybe beyond us, but second is definitely on. And with the optimism around the club and with the fans and everyone in the community, it's fantastic to see. But Gareth just said he broke his phone when Wimbledon equalised later on. So hopefully no late equalisers tomorrow, because we'll hear all on the Seasiders podcast, which will be back tomorrow at 6 p.m. So if Blackpool get another win at home, join us on the chat. I think we had over 200 live viewers on the show on Tuesday night, which was fantastic to see so many people get involved. And I think it ticked over 1,000 viewers altogether. With people listening back or watching back. So keep it up, keep liking all the social media pages. If you're on YouTube now, if you've not hit that like button and subscribe, please do that. We are trying to reach that 1,000 subscriber target by the end of the season. So with your little help, doesn't take long to hit that button. Please do it. Final few ones in here before we go. Just says Wayne says 2-0 to Poole, Yates and Kai. Plenty 2-0 scores there. A few nice comments here from everyone else in terms of the show tonight. Stephen says, good show again. Gareth says, great listen. Good night. And Dan BFC says, great football chat tonight, folks. Really enjoyed it. And we're glad we can keep you ticking through the week and into the weekend during this lockdown. Hopefully you'll stay with us even when the season's back up, well, when fans are back in the ground and stuff. But let's see. Well, we'll leave it there. It's been great to obviously have you guys on the show, have a good debate about players, whether they should be in the team, scores, news-wise. But Tom, thanks, mate, for everything you're doing behind the scenes with this, and it's much appreciated. And fingers crossed Blackpool can win again tomorrow.
Yeah, you're most welcome, mate. Yeah, fingers crossed for 3 points.
And Sean, once again, mate, a huge thanks for coming on and your work behind the scenes. We know you're busy with your work you're doing at the moment, traveling to different grounds and games, but your insight and your knowledge is superb. And I think the fans are enjoying that. And like I said, we're great to have you part of the Seasiders podcast for this season.
Yeah, no worries. Really enjoyed it as always.
Perfect. Well, we'll leave you there. Like I said, if you haven't hit that like button, please hit that one. But we hope you enjoyed the show. Let's hope Blackpool can get another win at home in 2021. Good night.